Hi everyone, this is another tag video, so it's one that I want everyone to participate in, whoever wants to. Anyway, I thought this would be a little bit of fun. Okay, so this video is based after the idea of Desert Island Discs. If you don't know what Desert Island Discs is, it's a radio show in Britain and it involves getting in famous people and saying to them, right, you're going to be stranded in a desert island. What luxury items would you take with you? And many of them are like songs, so they then play the songs throughout the show, right? Okay, so that's the idea. They don't actually strand them. I realised the way I said that there was as if they actually strand them on a desert island. With some of their guests, that might be fun, but no, they don't do that. Okay, so I'm going to change it slightly. So here is the scenario, and I'm going to go through the things that I would take with me to a desert island. All right, so you are going to be stranded on a desert island by some sort of evil oligarch, and although they're evil, they are going to let you take certain items with you. So what I want to know is what islands. I can't even speak properly. I don't know what's wrong with me. I want to know what items you would take with you. So here are your options, right? One book. You can only take one film, one album of music, one box set of a television series, and one luxury item, right? So you're allowed to take those. That's the five things you're allowed to take, right? So here's my five. All right. So first up, the first the book that I would take to a desert island with me. So I'm never going to have any other books ever again. All right. So that one is actually quite easy. Now I would love to take like a book of like short stories or something like that, like M.R. James, something like that, but I would have to take a book called The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. Now, I'm not a religious guy, but this is a book that was written by a Tibetan monk. And while I'm not religious, I like to read about different religions just to see what other people's opinions are on life and death and all sorts of things. And God, my hair is some state. Anyway, I sound really calm there. God, my hair is so. It's just. I don't know what to do with it. Anyway, so yeah, the book I would take is the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. It was written by a Tibetan monk, and it's really for people who are religious or people who are non-religious or atheists. It's for anybody, and it's just presenting a certain way at looking at life. And at certain points in my life, I got that book when I was about 17, 18, and at certain points in my life, it's just really helped me. I've went back to it many times. You can read it over and over again, and you can really get a lot of sort of, if you don't believe in the spiritual sort of emotional guidance out of it. All right, so let's say I'm not religious. It's not like reading a preachy book. It's really really accessible, and it's just got a lot of truths which apply to all different beliefs. And I really really love it for that. So I would take the book I would take to a desert island would be the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. All right, okay. So the film that I would take. Now I'm doing a Bill Clinton impersonation. I did not have sexual relations with. Sorry, um, because he always does that with his hand. Like he never point. Always do this. That's why politicians point because it's unintrusive, but they're still needing to make their point. All right. Anyway, so the film that I would take It's a Wonderful Life. If I had to pick one film that I would take with me, it's a film that I've never grown tired of, and it's a film that always makes me feel better about life whenever I watch it. So that would be the film that I would take. It's always, obviously it's a Christmas film. So every day on this island would be Christmas, only a rubbish Christmas because you're sort of like stranded away from everyone. Anyway, um, so I would take It's a Wonderful Life. I think it's to me I'm not saying it's the best film of all time, but it's my favorite film of all time. I know it's really cliched and sort of sappy to say that, but I'm actually quite a sappy guy. Don't tell anyone. Anyway, so I would take It's a Wonderful Life because it cheers me up, makes me think about the things that I have. Maybe that's not a good idea to take to a desert island because it just makes you think about the things that you don't have. I don't know. No, I would take It's a Wonderful Life. So the book I would take, Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. The film I would take is It's a Wonderful Life. Now, the album I would take, that's a hard one. That's a really, really difficult one to take. One album to last me forever. Well, I think I would have to cheat slightly, and I would pick a double album, and it would be the Beatles' White Album. Um, it's just one of my favourite albums. I think it's got all sorts of different musical styles on it. Um, I really like the simplicity of a lot of it. Even though by that point the Beatles largely were recording on their own, I still think it's one of their best albums, and um, there's just so many great tracks on it, and I love the sort of acoustic, natural feel to the album. It's unlike any other Beatles album in that way. You know, all the other ones feel like they were really experimenting with the sound. In this one, a lot of it is stripped down. They are experimental on it, but in a lot of ways, a lot of the songs are stripped down, and I just love it. I've always loved it ever since I've heard it. And let's say it's a double album, so that would last me a little while. Although there's probably only so many times I could listen to Rocky Raccoon. Not really, I actually love that song. Anyway, okay, so that's the album I would take. So what did I say? Book, film, album, and then there would be it would be a television series. Okay, what television series could you take with you? Now, by the way, this can be any TV series. Doesn't have to be um doesn't have to be, you know, like something that is out in box set. Just let's imagine that you can have any television series there to watch with you, like, you know, the entire thing. If I was going to pick one television series that I would be able to watch the entire thing, well, I would pick Lost. uh, Not only do I believe that it's one of the greatest pieces of television ever made, um, I'm on a desert island, and I feel I would learn a lot by watching Lost. You know, seeing how Jack would handle the whole situation. So it would almost be like a sort of help manual for a strandee. So that's what I would pick Lost. I think Lost to me as a television series, it lost a lot of people when they were watching it, but um, I was always, you know, of the belief that it was very much a science fiction television show and stroke fantasy show, and when it showed its true colours a few seasons in, a lot of people lost interest, but you know, I was always totally up for that. And the ending, although they didn't explain everything, the ending I thought was just fantastic, really moving. Anyway, so I would take Lost. And lastly, we've got your luxury item. Now the luxury item would have to be a musical instrument. Now I was going to say I would take, well, it doesn't have to be a musical instrument for you, but just for me, it would have to be. I've been a musician since I was 3 years old, and that's one of my jobs I have. I teach people guitar, and I just, you know, I love music. I just always have. I'm sort of hardwired to it, and I think not being able to play music like would just like kill me. So I was thinking I would take my guitar, or I would take maybe like a trumpet or something like that. But I think what I would take is I would take my ukulele. That's what I would take. I love this ukulele. I'd never know whether to say ukulele or ukulele, but I would take this, and I'm not going to. Nah, I'm not going to stop. Anyway, like I just love it. It's small. I could carry it about with me wherever I go on this desert island, and it's really easy to play, and you know it's a great musical instrument. So that's what I would take. All right, so that's my 5 items if I was getting stranded on a desert island. The film would be It's a Wonderful Life. The television series would be Lost. The book would be The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. The musical album would be the White Album by the Beatles, and my luxury item would be my ukulele. So, you're being stranded on a desert island. What are those 5 items? Not of those 5 items. What would you pick? What film, TV series, book, musical instrument, and luxury item would you take with you for all eternity? It's actually quite dark when I think about it. But yeah, do a video response if you've like got the means to make video. Um, and if not, just leave a comment before. I'd love to hear what you guys would take with you. because I'm nosy.